Yeah. So, obviously had NBA trade deadline was pretty intense. A lot of activity going on in terms of um, teams making deals. Um, uh, teams making moves, making moves. Um, Obviously, to me, the biggest move splash that occurred was the KD. Starting with the KD going to the Suns. That was obviously not necessarily like a planned deal, something that people saw really coming. Just kind of happened overnight, really. And surprisingly, being the fact that you know the Brooklyn Nets were having a good season, you know, a relatively good season, had a winning record. Seemed like they had a roll going on. Just had some health issues, but they had something going on. Kyrie was balling out. Um, KD was just out a couple games, and it looked like he was just on his way to come back. He's not fully back, but he's on his way to come back. So, but obviously the trade happened. KD's on to Phoenix, um, and that's a major, major, major splash of a deal. Especially, I think to me, probably the biggest deal in trade deadline history in terms of caliber of players who got traded during the deadline. Then got obviously his teammate Kyrie Irving. He went and got traded to Dallas Mavericks, uh, and so that was again somewhat abrupt. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, Kyrie was balling out on a really good run, and then he kind of just he requested trade. Obviously, due to from my understanding contractual. It was a contractual thing. He's looking for a major deal, contract deal, and Brooklyn wasn't necessarily too interested in giving him like a extended contract deal. So I think Kyrie just kind of wanted to take things, take matters in his hands, and try to get out as soon as possible if that was the case. Um, and from what was reported, he preferred to go to the LA Lakers, but obviously ended up with the Dallas Mavericks. So you know, pretty big splash in my opinion. I do think you know Dallas got better. Obviously, with you get a caliber player like a Kyrie Irving. Phoenix obviously gets better. Um, Nets, a lot of people want to just kind of cast negative judgment towards the Nets and the dysfunction and et cetera, et cetera. To me, I think as an organization, they did their best job, best they can do. In terms of as an organization, bringing in the caliber of players that they were able to bring in, um, like with kind of guys like Kyrie, James Harden, Kevin Durant. These is top caliber, top talented players. So gotta give them credit for that. Unfortunately, things didn't quite work out. They had some injuries, some chemistry issues, and some off court. Nothing really specifically that had to do with on the court basketball issues. I think like myself and I know a lot of people had high expectations for them, but unfortunately they didn't meet those expectations. But I think they got some good draft. They got some draft picks, so hopefully they can use those picks wisely. They got some players. Mikal Bridges is a nice player from the Phoenix Suns. He, before the All-Star break, had his career high with 45 points. So, he's a nice player. Like I said, they got Dorian Finney-Smith, who's a good role player from Dallas. They got Spencer Dinwiddie, who was once with them a couple years ago, averaged around 20 points. So, he played well with Dallas as well with Luka, and so he's coming back. I'm sure going to be averaging, you know, around that 20 point per game kind of mark. Cam Thomas, who's a young player on the on Brooklyn, he was having a pretty good run before the All-Star break. He had a couple games of 40 plus points. So it's not all hope is lost with the Nets. Obviously, you lose two guys of the caliber of Kevin Durant and a Kyrie. That's huge. I mean, I don't think they necessarily gotta evenly match for what they got. You know what I'm saying? Given what they lost, but they got some pieces. They got something to work with moving forward. Um, you got, obviously Russ not being moved from the Lakers. He had the contract buyout. He's supposed to be signing with the LA Clippers. So that should be a nice little pickup for LA Clippers. I think, just my personal opinion, I think Russ got a lot of flack. That was a little undeserving in terms of his play while he was at the Lakers. Obviously, things they didn't necessarily meet the high expectations that they had assumed, but in my opinion, I think Russ played well. He put up some good numbers for the time that he was playing. Uh, uh, his first year, he averaged 18, 8 and 8, starting, given injuries with LeBron and AD, himself included, chemistry not necessarily able to get the chemistry. Then he accepted his role this season with coming off the bench, averaging about 15, 8 and 8, still pretty, really good coming off your bench. You know what I'm saying? Like that's starter stats. You know what I'm saying? But he was doing that coming off the bench. So, um, you know, I think he got some unfair criticism. Again, obviously things they didn't meet the expectations, but Russ never cheats you with effort. Never, always plays hard. You know, and so I think Russ is going to be a good addition for the Clippers moving forward on their team. I know the Clippers they moved John Wall and Reggie Jackson, which was kind of surprising to me because I thought they was playing well. Uh, while they was there, John Wall was playing well. Reggie, I don't think they had an established understanding of who was starting though. But to me, I thought that was kind of surprising to me that they moved those two guys. I believe Reggie went to sign with Charlotte. John Wall's still looking for a contract. Um, and yeah, so that's some of the you know some of the moves that happened during the trade deadline and the buyout and all.